What do a conspiracy-ridden Tucker Carlson interview, a new global peace board, and the threat of war with Iran have in common? More than you think. Welcome back, everybody, to The Quad here in our Jerusalem studios with my wonderful co-host, Emily Schrader, human rights activist and journalist, Shoshana Keats-Jaskol, the founder of Chokhmat Nashim, elevating Orthodox women's voices, and returned by popular demand, Sogand Fakheri, who is not only an actress on the very popular Tehran show, she is also an Iran analyst at the Jerusalem Center for Foreign Affairs. Welcome back, Sogand. Okay, we have so much to unpack today, as usual, but let's start with Iran again, the Islamic Republic, and it just seems that there's some type of naive, almost fairy tale expectation that in the middle of these negotiations with the devil, yes, negotiations with the devil, somehow the fact that half of the American army sitting in the Gulf will make them change their minds, wake up and go, oh dear, maybe it's time to compromise. So just listen to what Witkoff says.
I don't want to use the word frustrated. It's almost because he understands he's got plenty of alternatives. But it's curious. He's curious as to why they haven't, I don't want to use the word capitulated, but why they haven't capitulated. Why under this sort of pressure with the amount of sea power, naval power that we have over there, why they haven't come to us and said, we profess that we don't want a weapon, so here's what we're prepared to do, and yet it's hard to sort of get them to that place.
Gee, I wonder why.
Emily,
just maybe they want a nuclear weapon.
Yeah.
And also, I don't think they care about the buildup. They don't even care if there's a war against their own people. Hello, they've already launched one last year. You killed 40,000, upwards of 40,000 people. I mean, what, you think that they're going to be scared because the U.S. military is going to strike? They want their own people to die because it means they can use it to stay in power. It's disgusting. It's the most cynical thing that exists today, and that's why they're the Nazis of our time.
Sogand, you are an Iranian. You made Aliyah from Iran. You deal with this day and night. Is this naivete or is this the theater of the negotiations? What do you think?
I want to say that it's a theater because there's no way that we keep seeing all these forces coming into the Gulf, coming to like our region, and each time someone says something, someone else, like there's too much tension and too much like they're trying to do and overachieve and build up, and like everyone is trying to do more than they should and say more than they should, and it all feels like almost like a theater play, and it just feels like, you know, and the Iranians are like the best players, and we say that every time. They're just snakes, so you can never know.
Yes, but do you think Witkoff is still naive about, I mean, he's the guy in the negotiation room, isn't he, with Jared Kushner?
Yeah.
Like, do you think he's still falling for their crap?
Yes.
Here's.
Yes. Witkoff doesn't know these issues. Yeah. I mean, he's had, you know, a year or two with President Trump, but like he doesn't have any background in this. He doesn't know anything about the geopolitical situation. He doesn't know anything about the Islamic Republic and the regime and how it came to power and how they operate. Nothing prior to these negotiations, just as he screwed it up with Russia and Ukraine, just as he screwed it up, I'm sorry, but with Gaza. Like, it's great that he was able to assist in securing the release of the hostages. But that didn't happen as a result of his, you know, robust foreign policy experience.
Well,
he kind of like got lucky in that regard because of the pressure of Trump, I would argue.
I mean, it just feels that he doesn't really understand the ideology he's negotiating.
Yeah,
really. You'd think Jared Kushner, though, he would understand the ideology a little bit more.
I think Kushner's worse.
You think Kushner's worse?
Lately, with the way that he's been speaking, I think Kushner's worse because Kushner, like Witkoff, is prioritizing business. And that's one option when you're working with rational actors. But how can you really say people who killed 40,000 citizens are rational?
Talking about business, Iran threw in last week the fact that they would let America use its crude oil, sell its oil. You know, they're trying to bribe
Yeah.
these kind of business-minded people. Shoshana, how do you see it?
I think it's absurd to think that someone who's made a career of defying the West would now come and capitulate to the West. The guy's in his 80s. Like, this is his legacy. Now he's going to come and say, everything I've done for the past 80 years, and I've been in power since, I think, what, 89? I'm just going to go back on that, and my last thing that I'm going to do on this planet as the supreme leader is capitulate to those who I have called the devil for decades. What? What?
And he doesn't
Of course not.
understand
Of
it.
course not. So the fact that America is even now again, you don't just look at history, right? Just look at history. Look at the playbook of Islamic wars. This is something they do all the time. Yes, 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 yes. While they're bringing out the knives from behind them. Come on. So to me, I understand Witkoff and Kushner. Like, when you're born and you are raised with values that value life, they value building, they value creating, they value
Prosperity.
then you really, really have to work hard to put that aside and put yourself in a position where the exact opposite, where death is a glory, it's very hard. And they shouldn't be the ones negotiating.
Well, that you should send people who actually understand the mindset.
Exactly.
Maybe other Iranian Americans or people who really understand what they're dealing with. And Trump, we're all sitting here, as you know, every single night. I go to bed thinking,
Tonight?
tonight. Maybe tonight.
Maybe tonight.
Maybe tonight is the night. Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. Every night we're thinking like that. And Trump is given more or less a 10-day deadline.
Something else.
Watch this.
The people of Iran are a lot different than the leaders of Iran. And it's very, very sad situation. But 32,000 people were killed over a relatively short period of time. They were going to hang 800 2 weeks ago. Hang, some by crane. But no, I feel very badly for the people of Iran. They've lived in hell. Please, we have to make a meaningful deal. Otherwise, bad things happen. So now we may have to take it a step further, or we may not. Maybe we're going to make a deal. You're going to be finding out over the next probably 10 days.
You know, he did the same thing back in July, didn't he? Remember, he said they've got 2 weeks, and then the next thing we know, they joined in.
Also, yesterday, Witkoff said that we are a week from a nuclear bomb in Iran because they reached the 60% uranium levels.
Yeah, Witkoff did say that.
Yeah.
He said what?
He said they believe that the Islamic Republic is
1 week away.
a week away.
A week away?
A week away.
So they're literally giving us hours here?
Yeah.
What's
And
going on?
Let's say that, and let's say they don't have a 101 on Sharia law and everything. Okay, they gave Trump the word that they won't hang people in the streets. Listen, guys, Mahsa Amini didn't get hanged in the street.
She didn't.
She got beaten up. She got died by torture.
Yeah.
They tortured them to death, even though they don't give a penalty of they're gonna die. We're gonna execute them. No, they're just
They're going into hospitals.
killing them anyway.
They're going into hospitals and shooting people in their beds.
So, well,
They don't have to be hanged.
worse than that. They're talking about rape and mutilation of
Yes.
particularly women in horrific
Also
ways.
men.
To hanging would be preferable
Yeah.
to what is being done now, because Trump says, well, they didn't hang them.
Well, I think the thing that sets this apart right now from what happened in June is you obviously see the posturing of the Trump administration, whether they're going to act or not going to act. There's a lot that we're seeing right now that's related to U.S. politics. And the opposition right within Trump's own faction, within the Republican Party. But in June, we didn't see people being sentenced to death every single day who have just been protesting. We didn't see people getting shot in protests on an ongoing basis.
Yeah.
We didn't see family members getting arrested or people getting shot at, funerals and all of the things that we're seeing every single day. Every single day that Trump waits, more people are dying.
Exactly.
So 10 days is many people dying on each of those days.
Every single day. And I think the worst thing, and I think this is where Trump, in a way, boxed himself in, because the minute he wrote and he said, we're behind you, help is on its way, people died on that word.
Yep.
And I think that if you have to give Trump something, is the fact that his word means something. If he said something, he normally does it. And people are surprised when he follows through, when he said something outrageous and then he goes and does it.
Right.
And so I'm praying that he's not another Obama who said and set the red line in Syria, let people die of chemical warfare, and that he's actually just doing this in a smart way.
Yeah.
He's bringing in, I mean, there's 3 fleets now here. Everything is in place.
I think half of the U.S. strike power is here.
Is
if I'm
here.
not mistaken.
I mean, and Israel, of course.
of course. Well,
We're here.
yeah. You know, it was 10 days from what he said.
Is when?
Is Purim.
Oh my God.
Now I'm just saying. I've often said that Trump is Achashverosh.
No, a lot of people say that, but I was hoping that by Purim we would already have Haman's head on a stick. That was my little.
That would be lovely.
Which means that if we started in the next couple of days, in a week, if things go well, we could have Khamenei's head on a stick.
So maybe we
That would be it, don't worry.
week, and then you take the 3 days off, and then it
Yes, it does. You know, the Jews will always do the math
Yeah.
to make it look like it's really 10 days. 10 days, take off the 3, and then it's the second Purim and not the first Purim. It's Shushan Purim.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's
That
true.
would be a lovely, lovely Purim gift.
Yes, it would. And so would the disarmament of Hamas by the border peace. Now, is that also La La Land, Emily? What's going on over there?
Yeah. That's the end of my analysis. Yes.
La La Land, in other words, but this is the way I see it. I think that the most genius thing about the ceasefire we signed, okay, apart from the fact we got all our hostages home, which is a miracle, no other way to look at it, that we're in 53 or 58%, depends on where you count it, of the Gaza Strip. And we're not moving unless the disarmament begins, which means we've now taken over half of the Gaza Strip because, yes, they lost the war that they started in the most brutal way.
Yeah.
And we're not moving. We're not moving. So the point is, if they're going to disarm, who's going to do this? The Indonesian soldiers that are coming, they're going to get.
Well,
made
I heard that
mincemeat.
Norway is sending 60 soldiers. 60 soldiers. So that'll
They're
do.
very tall.
Maybe
Maybe
they'll
they
be
can't
tall,
one and a half.
tall, blonde, and handsome. That'll be interesting. But no, let's see if they can actually disarm Hamas. Who's going to disarm Hamas except for us? Who?
Also, like, what will the pro-Palestinians will say later? Free Gaza from Norway?
I would like to see that.
Like,
I would
oh
like
my
to
God,
see that.
free Gaza from the Vikings.
Yeah.
Yes. Now that would be a good one to see. Free Gaza from the Vikings. But, you know, again, it's the same kind of naivety. Trump is saying Hamas doesn't want to die. Watch this.
The war in Gaza is over. It's over. There are little flames. Hamas has been, I think they're going to give up their weapons, which is what they promised. If they don't, it'll be, you know, they'll be harshly met, very harshly met. They don't want that. You know, all this stuff like they don't mind dying. They told me that's not true. Everyone said, oh, they don't mind dying. No, they don't want to die. They said, we don't want to die. People don't want to die.
Again, you're talking about people who strapped explosives to themselves.
And
walked-
children.
And children
Yeah.
walked into restaurants and buses and blew themselves up. Who does he think he's dealing with? Swedish people?
There's a phenomenal Israeli comedian.
כל הזמן אומרת הפלסטינים רוצים שלום بس הפלסטינים אומרים לה לא רוצים שלום אומרת לא אתם כן רוצים אומרים לה לא אנחנו לא רוצים يعني אני אומר זה כמו בחור يعني הוא רוצה תעשי משהו לבחורה תגיד תעשי משהו אומרת לבחורה والله לא רוצה זה הוא אומר לה את כן רוצה אבל אני לא רוצה אבל את כן רוצה זה נקרא תמר זנדברג זה נקרא הטרדה
Oh my God, that's what this is. Sometimes the comedians are like spot on.
Yeah.
It's like, I keep saying I want to die. No, you don't. Yes, you do. What is wrong with you? Like, what is this is classic, like,
I know what they want, and I'm not going to believe when they tell me they want to die for the
except
sake of
that we're the ones in the line of fire.
Yep. Well, this has been the international community's policy for, you know, since the beginning of time, practically, when this conflict began, that, oh, the two-state solution.
Which they never
Meanwhile,
wanted.
they're talking about Israel's position or Netanyahu's position or such and such in the government, and oh, they oppose the two-state solution. I'm sorry, can you find me even one Palestinian representative who supports a two-state solution?
None of them do.
Even one?
No.
Like, why is this not even discussed in the international media? It's crazy.
Because ultimately they can't understand that this is not a territorial conflict.
Right.
That this is an ideological conflict. And when people can't understand something and they have a solution for a problem they don't understand, of course it's going to be the wrong solution.
Yeah.
This is ideological, the way that it's going to be all around the world. And unfortunately, you know, it's been unleashed everywhere, not just here. We're in the front lines of this. Again, Iran, the Islamic Republic, oh, they don't want to die. Well, they might want to sacrifice millions of people for the sake of, as you say, staying in power for the sake of jihad. And that's, I think, the bottom line. And segueing onto somebody else who is working for jihad, Tucker Carlson, as we like to call him here and everywhere else. You know, he came to Israel for a hot minute last week to interview the wonderful ambassador Mike Huckabee, who we all love. And he didn't leave the airport. And first of all, we knew the interview didn't go that well for him when, after the interview, he invented a whole story about how he was harassed at the airport. Has he never been to Israel before? You need a passport, Tucker, you know that, right? And they do check your bag because, you know, we've got a little problem with terrorists. But from what the surveillance footage showed, you were not treated badly at all. Somebody actually took a selfie with you and gave you a hug. So I knew.
That person should be fired, by the way.
I get worse when I go to the airport.
Of course. Me? Try traveling with my name.
Yeah, you were born in
No, I was born in Iran.
Oh my God, you were born in Iran, but my name's Hassan, sweetheart. So let me just tell you, it's not a picnic, but it doesn't matter because I know that our border is protecting us from people who may have not the best intentions. Now, Tucker flew in a private jet. He was in a VIP lounge. So already when you're VIP, you don't go through the regular, stuff.
No one's harassing you.
Nobody's harassing you. They give you a cup of tea while they check your documents. That's what's going on. And so you invent a story, which is a lie. And then you go on to do the most immature, cheap. It felt like a 10-year-old was like, yeah, you know?
Also against Mike Huckabee.
Mike Huckabee.
It's like going up against Santa.
Is it that? Who does that? Exactly.
He is a teddy bear.
Right?
And he's got such great posture and control. He didn't get angry. He didn't lose it. I would have lost it. And I'm a calm person when I'm under a hostile interview. But the way he was trying to corner him into getting to making him sound like he was disloyal to his own country, he was so disgusting. But there was one little moment, and I'm going to ask you all ladies what your favorite moment was. But let me show you my favorite moment. That is when Tucker himself admitted who he was. A jerk. Watch this.
When annoyed, I can be nasty in interviews. And so it takes a lot of self-control to interview someone like Mike Huckabee, not because I hate him, but because it's hard to ask him tough questions and not come off as a jerk, which I often am.
You and I both agree that it's a horrible thing to kill your own citizens, which Iran is doing.
It's a horrible thing to kill anybody's citizens.
Anybody's citizens. We agree on that.
Except that they're 14-year-olds working for Hamas, but whatever.
It's still a tragedy.
No, it is. Sorry, I'm being a jerk.
You,
okay.
you really are being a jerk.
I am. I know.
You are being a jerk on that.
I am such a jerk.
I'm going to write down.
You're right.
Tucker
You're right.
Carlson
I know.
admitted.
I know.
He's a jerk.
Oh, I am
Okay.
a jerk. Everyone knows that. I mean, I'm really trying. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Tucker, for admitting what we already knew. Emily, what was your favorite bit in that interview?
Oh, that's hard because there were so many. But I think I have to say the segment where Tucker tried to talk about the Christian community in Israel, which, by the way, he was invited to meet with, ignored the invitation, and didn't enter the country at all, other than the few hours at the airport that you mentioned. But, you know, he tried to grill Huckabee about this, about the status of Christians, and Huckabee said that the situation for Christians in Israel, correctly, is significantly better than anywhere else in the Middle East. It's the only country where the Christian population is actually growing in the Middle East, other than Iran, underground, by the way. But you know, Huckabee started talking about this, and Tucker said, well, there's more Christians in Qatar than in Israel. That's actually not true. Huckabee confirmed that it was not true, but he didn't specify citizens.
Now, I'll tell you where Christians are not doing very well. They're not doing very well in the Muslim-controlled countries. There's almost no Christians in Qatar, for example, except those who live in the Christian ghetto, who are the service workers.
I'm
You
sorry.
can't
Look,
pray.
I don't want to argue with you. There are many more Christians in Qatar than there are in Israel.
That's
So
not true.
what it actually is true. And I refer you to Wikipedia, Mr. Ambassador.
Wikipedia,
I refer you to the government of Qatar, the government of Israel. These are knowable facts. Like I'm
in Jordan,
by the way,
numbers are down. In Syria, the numbers are down. In
I'm just
Lebanon, the
saying,
numbers are down.
there
I'm just
are
telling you that
about twice as many Christians.
but they live in
hold
the
on.
enclave. They are not native Qataris.
Okay, we're mixing so many different categories
Yeah.
here. I'm just saying I get things wrong all the time. You've just gotten something wrong, and I think it's important to acknowledge it. There are many more Christians in Qatar than there are in Israel. Fact.
How many?
Now you caught me. I don't know. I can look at my phone, but I was just there, and there are many more. Like whatever.
There is about just under 500,000 Christians who live in Qatar as second-class citizens.
Slave labor.
Exactly.
Slave
laborers.
labor. They're laborers,
Beyond
and they
that-
get treated terribly.
Yep. And beyond that, there's absolutely zero Christians that are citizens of Qatar, unlike Israel, where they are equal citizens under the law, contribute to our society and our state a great deal in many different sectors, from government to the army to all different kinds of fields, medicine, etc.
Yeah.
So that was outrageous. And then Huckabee actually did call him out and said, "Well, how many Christians are in Qatar?" And Tucker suddenly didn't remember, which is highly ironic if you remember that when he interviewed Senator Ted Cruz, he gave him hell because he didn't know the exact population of Iran.
Yes.
And he's talking about Iran, but he doesn't know the exact population. And Tucker himself doesn't know what he's talking about, which we knew, and now he's demonstrated for all to see.
He's just almost like honestly a caricature of himself. I felt like it was like a little immature little jerk. Really, exactly what he called himself. I mean, how did you saw?
Yeah,
so positive?
I watched a part of it because it was just so stupid. I'm sorry. No.
We have a life.
Yeah. My people are getting killed. So the thing is that I was like, my favorite part was actually Tucker showing his ignorance.
Yeah.
He was trying to be like so strong, look like, yeah, I know a lot about the Middle East. I'm gonna come for the US ambassador. And come on, man, you just showed everyone how like uneducated you are. I don't know where did you go to study or what did you do, because I don't care about you. Sorry. But man, you came here, do your like little research before, know your like numbers, know stuff, and just the fact that you showed everybody how ignorant you are. Thank you for that. Thank you for coming here.
Ignorant, manipulative, and hateful.
Well, you know, he mentioned very briefly the comment about the 14-year-olds, which is something he focused on in the interview. Oh, how can Israel kill 14-year-olds who are members of Hamas? This is unpleasant because war is unpleasant. But the reality is, legally, the people who are responsible, if the IDF or the U.S. Army or any other army in the world kills a 14-year-old combatant member of a terrorist organization who is involved in fighting, that is a legal kill. It is a legal target, unfortunately, and the priority of civilians preventing terrorism from groups like Hamas, of course, takes precedence over someone who has been recruited to be an active terrorist.
But also-
that's international law.
But also, why isn't he condemning child soldiers?
That's right.
Why isn't he condemning the people recruiting children to fight? Like many people condemn that behavior in Africa, in many of the civil wars. Child soldiers is a big problem, as is child marriage, something else that you talk about, pedophiles with so much impunity, but you forget to mention all those pedophiles in Gaza that marry 12-year-old girls. That you don't mention. And my question is always, what is his motivation? You know, it just came out, I think yesterday or the day before, that when Tucker went to the White House, they basically said to him, listen, man, just cool it with the Jew hatred. They apparently pushed, I don't know why they just wouldn't ignore him or call him out on it, but they pulled him aside.
Probably because his son is the communications director of the vice president.
J.D. Vance, yeah. So they pulled him aside and they basically said, cool it with the Jewish hatred. And again, and this is what's been asked over the weekend after this interview, what happened to Tucker Carlson? And I say, well, he's either been paid by Qatar,
For sure.
or he's just like every single anti-Semite who ends up getting consumed.
Brain rot.
And that's all they see. Like Charlie Kirk said, brain rot.
Yeah, it's total brain rot. I mean, if you watch someone who's so obsessed with something, like you can see their brain like trying very hard to make the arrow go where they want it to go. You know, they do the circle around the target or whatever you say. I can't do idioms anymore. I'm too old. But it's very clear to see that he's just trying to gotcha to everybody. He's just trying to like, this is a piece of information that I think I know, and I'm going to tell you it, and then I'm going to twist your answers. Who listens to that? The only person who listens to someone like that is someone who's the same way.
Exactly. They're hate.
Halfway there already.
But this is the model right now. You know, you see Megyn Kelly shifting this direction. You see that
Yes.
bimbo who was on the
was
Religious
that?
Commission that nobody's heard of.
Nobody knew.
Yeah.
Now she all of a sudden, you know what?
This is the way for them to get money.
Exactly. All of these nobodies, they start hating on Israel and Jews, and all of a sudden they get popular, they get contracts, they get views, they get follows.
There's no question he's getting money.
Yeah.
There's no question.
Of course not.
100%.
Yeah, definitely sold himself to the devil. And I just, I wonder what will happen, because please God, once we pull down the Islamic regime, and I honestly do think that this is going to happen sooner or later. It has to. This is the way history has to go. It just has to go this way. It's interesting to me what's going to happen with Qatar, because Qatar have been they've been hedging their bets the whole time. They support here, they support there. They do the jihadi Muslim Brotherhood, but they also do this side just in case. I wonder what's going to happen to Qatar that share gas fields with the Islamic Republic. I wonder what's going to happen to them. And then if something shifts, what's going to happen to all these haters that have been on the paycheck? Are they going to be like unemployed, or they'll find somebody else to...
Nothing's going to happen.
Turkey, maybe Erdogan has spare money. Yeah. Anyway, from one scumbag to many scumbags as we move on to our segment, Scumbag of the Week. Okay, I mean, we've really covered the scumbag of all, but we always have more and more to talk about, and every week brings a whole lot of new snakes that we want to highlight so that you know who they are. So, Sugand, who is your scumbag this week?
Well, hard to choose. So mine this week is the Basij, the Basij of universities.
So tell us a little bit about who they are for our audience.
So the Basij are another segment of the IRGC. They're just chosen to keep the values of the revolution, the Islamic revolution, inside Iran. So they're spread between schools, universities. Actually, my role in Tehran was a Basij member.
Oh, so you were one of the bad guys?
Yeah.
In the show.
In the show.
She said my role in Tehran.
Yeah, Tehran the series.
Tehran the series, not the city.
And so for 47 years, they've been occupying Iran. And has brought they've been brought like a lot of good things to Iran, actually.
Like what?
Crisis. No, I'm kidding. So when you bring all kind of crises, such as economic and water crisis and air pollution crisis and education crisis, and wow, wonderful, your people, like, there's a true future of Iran who are fighting in the universities, best universities of Iran, and you're going in praising Allah for nothing, for killing their brothers and sisters. Not your brothers and sisters, because you're scumbags. You're just against everything that justifies life and happiness and true values of living good.
Are they like the thought police in universities?
Yes.
Like they go in and tell them what they can.
Exactly. They're like, yeah, wear your hijab or do this or do that.
Right.
And you see them beating people for fighting for a future. So thank you. They're trying to, let me break the news for you. They're trying to liberate a country that you destroyed. So step aside or just shut up.
Oh my God. Well, we knew that all of the infrastructure of the Islamic Republic are scumbags, but they have a dedicated group of scumbags just for universities and schools. Well, that's news to me. And thank you for highlighting them. Emily, who's your scumbag this week?
Oh, my scumbag is a member of Congress, Thomas Massey. He's been a long time scumbag, many, many years of scumbaggery. But this week, he is pushing a resolution against assisting the people of Iran, co-sponsored with Ro Khanna, another member of Knesset, Congress. But the reason that he's a scumbag goes far beyond just this resolution that he's proposing today. He voted against Iron Dome funding. He voted against labeling BDS as anti-Semitic. He has voted against Holocaust education. He has compared the Holocaust to COVID regulations. He is absolutely and completely, utterly obsessed with AIPAC, as many anti-Semites are. We've seen him retweeting anti-Semitic memes, posting them himself. One of them in particular, implies that being a Zionist is somehow not being or antithetical to being a patriotic American, which of course is false. And he's also supported by NIAC, which is the effective de facto lobby of the Islamic Republic of Iran inside Washington. And he's been backed by them for quite some time. But I think the most important thing I want to say today is that he's built a career. He's actually a Republican, the lone anti-Semitic Republican. But now that Marjorie Taylor Greene is gone.
Exactly.
But the thing that really sticks out to me is that he's built his entire career on being a constitutionalist and advocating for free speech and what's in American interests first. And this is his whole justification for all of his ideology, big on free speech. However, when I criticized him on social media, he actually blocked me, which not only doesn't look good because why are you blocking someone, you're a member of Congress, but beyond that is actually illegal because I'm an American citizen. So I will be pursuing this legally. I've already sent a legal warning to your office, and hopefully that addresses the issue. But if not, then I have no problem whatsoever moving forward with this because you already know, as a member of Congress, that there is a legal precedent for cases like this. So I suggest that you unblock me and stop violating my constitutional right to free speech.
Oh my God, Emily, what did you do to him to cause him to block you?
He's just fragile.
He's not very fragile.
He's free of speech unless you disagree with him.
These people are so thin-skinned.
Yeah, they are.
It's amazing how these snakes are so thin-skinned.
Yeah.
They get offended so easily. Well, a wonderful, you're right about Marjorie Taylor Greene. Somebody has to take off her skanky record. And this guy has been, now appointed. I think I read somewhere that he's also funded by Qatar.
I don't know if there's evidence of that, but I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah,
somebody said that the Qatari lobby, as we know, has spent billions and billions of dollars in the American Congress. And I think I read somewhere that he allegedly takes money from them too. So wow, what a character, what a great scumbag. And yes, you mess with the wrong girl, Thomas Massey.
Totally.
Okay, Shoshana, who's your scumbag?
Well, before I say who my scumbag is, I need to issue a correction from last week.
Okay.
Because many of you, and I'm so happy that you're listening to it, we have to say,
yes,
many of you have mentioned that I was incorrect when I said that FGM is legal in the UK. You are correct. It is not legal in the UK. However, it unfortunately, and I'm just going to quote this from one of the emails that we got, from my knowledge and having worked in the NHS previously, it's not legal, although there is what is called cutting season. There's a season called cutting season.
God.
Absolutely horrifying. There are people who come over to perform it in key cities, or they go abroad during school summer break. So I just wanted to mention that even though the UK is lost, it may be more accurate to say that it happens, but it isn't legal. So I've corrected myself.
It's not legal, but it happens.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I just needed to point that out before I went on to my very worthy scumbag this week. Okay. So this guy, Mario Nawfal, seems to, he's an ex-account. I don't know where he came from. A couple of years ago, I guess around October 7th is when I started to notice him, and he's like talking all about Gaza and Israel, and he's inviting me and other people to come and have these conversations. I forgot what they're called on X, to talk, and actually you just wait for a really long time while you listen to people bashing Israel, and you're like, I'd like to say something, I'd like to refute this, and they don't actually come to you, and they over and over again request, and I was like, stop talking, stop asking me, because you don't actually want to hear from Israelis, you just want to be propagandizing for Hamas. And, you know, sometimes he's got interesting things to say, but this morning or yesterday, I see my ex-scumbag, Max Blumenthal, tweets, this is my ex-scumbag. Insanity. Yeah, he's my ex-scumbag. Although he's like, you know, he's my stalker. He's insanity of, I just have to say that on January 15th, a 4.2 magnitude earthquake struck directly next to Israel's Dimona nuclear facility. It was notably shallow, lasted 1.5 seconds, and coincided with a pre-planned nationwide emergency drill at the exact same. Did you have a nationwide emergency? Did anybody here have a nationwide? Okay. Israel won't sign the Non-Proliferation Treaty, which refuses inspections, and its Jericho missiles can reach most of the inhabitable world. So Max tweets this saying, nobody's asking why Israel has missiles that can reach most of the world. Why aren't you asking these questions? Like Tucker, why aren't you asking these questions? And
I'm
all of
only
a sudden,
asking.
you're
I'm
just
only
like, yeah, I'm just asking a question. I'm just asking a question. I'm just asking a question. Like, where's your mom at right now? I'm just asking a question. I'm just asking a question. Do you think you have like half siblings somewhere? I'm just asking a question. You're not asking a question. You're bringing up ridiculousness, right? So this guy actually
Are your parents
quotes-
cousins?
Yes,
Just if somebody's gone and you're already pot. He's asking questions.
So in this segment, just ask a question. Just, why aren't people asking more questions about this? This is such like a hook on a fish. It's like, why aren't you asking more questions? So he actually quotes Max Blumenthal like he's an actual news source, and then uses his graphics of the world of where Israeli missiles can reach. I'm just like, man, this is the last nail in your coffin as even a little bit of a reputable account. Bye.
I know. Who the hell is he? I got a thing last year, also an email.
I
Would
did
you
see
like
from
to be on the? And I was like, sure. I looked. He's got a big following. I said, okay. And then all of a sudden, I heard nothing. I think he probably thought I was on his side of the argument.
Yeah.
Then realized I wasn't, and then they didn't want it.
And then they ignore you. Yeah.
Oh my God, loser.
It's also a really stupid question to ask because, why would Israel have missiles that can reach very far? Why? I have no idea.
Because our enemies are very far.
Because their enemies are very wide. Yeah, exactly. And yet nobody's worried about it because they know that we're responsible and don't have a death wish or a genocidal wish. And that's the bottom line. But yeah, these people.
There was an earthquake and a nationwide drill.
Ooh, we
Why
didn't
aren't you asking these questions?
Yeah, we didn't hear about it. Anyhow, well, my scumbag of the week goes back to a scumbag that keeps coming up, but this is a particular person in that scumbag category, and that is Jeremy Bowen, who is the most scumbaggy of the BBC journalists when it comes to this region. And the reason I'm bringing him up now, even though this is ongoing, since 2009, when he was basically, even by his own BBC trust, he was told that he had actually not done his job as a journalist and had caused inaccuracies in journalism. And this is about Israel back in 2009. They complained about including inaccuracy and insufficient impartiality, really. But the reason I'm bringing him up now is because the Financial Times did a beautiful puff piece on him about how uncompromising he is, and he is going to tell the truth no matter what. Complete puff piece. Many intelligent people in the UK wrote and said, what is this? I mean, he's not doing his job, and neither is the Financial Times, because this man is really somebody who is so biased against Israel. It's ridiculous. Let's go through it. He's taking Hamas numbers, of course, and always saying that these are accurate numbers. He doesn't give the Iranian opposition the same type of space. He says, well, we can't verify these numbers. We can't independently verify these numbers. He has no problem quoting Hamas numbers. He was the one who was first to report about the hospital and said that Israel had flattened a hospital. At the end, it was a Hamas rocket in the parking lot of the hospital that killed 5 people. Of course, nothing to do with Israel. He entered a private Israeli home that had been attacked on October 7th without getting permission from the family.
Wow.
Well, I did not know that.
And that happened. He led a BBC crew into a private home, and he didn't. The BBC later, of course, apologized and paid compensation. But that is the same Jeremy Bowen. And he is constantly breaking these so-called impartiality standards that most of the BBC does all the time. And of course, he is constantly being accused by the Jewish community of this type of bias. He will not admit it. He is obsessed with Israel, ignores Iran, and completely takes Hamas's side of the argument time and time again. And then the Financial Times goes and writes this amazing article about what an incredible, brave journalist he is. And so I just want to remind everybody that Jeremy Bowen from the BBC is a scumbag and my scumbag of the week. Okay, ladies, and now for the cleansing of our souls with good vibes, we go on to Heroes of the Week, and there are many heroes every week. So Gaunt, who's your hero this week?
Yeah, so I'm sorry, it's not a really good vibe. But we will look at the good side of it. My hero of the week has to be Dana Eden.
Oh.
the producer of Tehran series. And I'm not talking about, like, I'm not going to talk about me being an actress there as though I talked about it a lot for the past week. I'm going to talk about the people of Iran on that matter. When the devastating news broke out about her passing away, I received many messages from Iranians and saying that, you know, Iranians, they appreciate art through music, through songs, through lyrics, through poems, through pictures and everything like you can think of. The art, the Persian art is such a rich world. And when this art comes out as a series, Israeli series, talking about matters of Iranians, it's just everything I always dreamed of. As a 15 years old, I remember myself laying in bed, looking at the ceiling, and I was like, God, please, please, please help me to find a way to be a pole, like this bridge between Iranians and Israelis, and to show how we all can be united, and how like Israelis are like Iranians and Iranians are like Israelis. And this amazing love between the two nations is undeniable. And she did it with such bravery. She made this series win an Emmy. She believed in it. She believed in each of us, the actors. And she was the one who brought Tehran to life and brought Tehran to the mainstream, to Apple, to the Western world. And it's a great example. And I just want to say that she has been my hero since I was 17 until now. And she will forever stay as a hero. And
what a tragedy.
Beautiful.
So gone, and was it widely viewed in Iran?
Yeah.
Really?
Everyone I know, has watched.
And they were like, how did they know so much?
Yeah.
No, it's
Amazing.
crazy. It's like
art imitating life.
Yeah, and people do think I have a cousin in the Mossad. I don't.
Oh, sweetheart, everybody has a
Everyone has like a mother, we just don't know about it.
We just don't know.
Okay, as long as they don't think you're Basij.
Exactly.
Proudly wearing that hijab to curse it later.
Oh, nice, nice, nice.
Well, listen, it was just tragic to wake up that morning and find out that she'd lost her life. She took her life.
She will be remembered for her really, really great work as a producer and as an artist. So.
Well, I hope somebody continues her legacy, and thank you so much.
Shula will.
For reminding
Shula
us.
Spiegel will.
She will?
She's the co-producer of
That's amazing. So thank you, Sogand. It's an important person to highlight. Yeah. Emily, who's your hero?
So my hero is actually kind of related to my scumbag. I mentioned the resolution that's being proposed by Rep. Massey and also Rep. Ro Khanna. This week there was a town hall in Ro Khanna's district, and there was a very courageous 17-year-old Iranian American who confronted him with a question, almost in tears, about the situation and his honestly really crappy policy on the Islamic Republic. Let's take a look.
You're saying that you don't want the U.S. to go into another war with the Middle East. But what we're trying to emphasize here is that targeted strikes on military facilities, IRGC bases, those are very deliberate military strikes, targeted strikes, and this is what the people in Iran are asking for. I have relatives in Iran who are just begging for something to happen. When it comes to targeting a regime that has been killing non-stop children, 3-year-olds, for 47 years now, where is the obstacle? Please tell me, Congressman, because I and all the Iranian Americans that you see here just cannot fathom that.
I share genuinely your horror of what's happening with young people in Iran. I have said that the Iranian regime is massacring civilians. I am not under any illusion that this is anything but an evil regime. I do not have any sympathy for the Iranian regime. I have a lot of sympathy for the protesters in Iran. The question is, what is going to be effective? Last time Donald Trump took unilateral action in Iran, it obviously didn't work. Because we're in a situation after he took that action.
It's better than nothing.
I love it.
First off, I love the reaction of the audience. Now, this was his district town hall in Northern California, so there's a significant Iranian community there, and you can see exactly how they reacted. But, you know, the idea that you pay lip service as a member of Congress, oh, well, yeah, I don't have sympathy for them. I'm just going to propose a resolution that we don't actually do any kind of military assistance for the people of Iran. But this 17-year-old, her name is Tara, really courageous, absolutely my hero of the week, and I'm sure for many other people in that room as well as from the Iranian community, courageous for asking that question, for standing up, and for pointing out the hypocrisy of so many leaders today, including some of them in U.S. Congress, like Massey, like Ro Khanna here in this video. Keep doing what you're doing, and we'll continue to echo your voice and raise as much awareness as we can.
She's 17 years old.
See?
How eloquent, how brave. Just think of she's 17
The
years
children
old.
of immigrants always understand.
Yeah.
The children of immigrants, or those who have immigrated as a young age,
I
they
was a
really
25-year-old woman when I first saw it. I'm like, how smart, how composed, how eloquent.
Yeah.
And crying at the same time because she understands what's at stake.
What's at stake.
When this idiot, and then he gets up there and he's like, oh, you know, I understand the pain. Really? That's why you want to block it?
Donald Trump. AOC did the same thing. Oh, I oppose a war in Iran because Donald Trump. Like, dude, get over Donald Trump. That's not the issue here.
And get an opinion that isn't to do with Donald Trump. What are your values? Oh, my God.
Learn something.
Wonderful hero. Wonderful. Shoshana.
Oh, my hero is very much on theme today. Mike Huckabee.
Yay.
You're my hero because I really would have lost it if Tucker Carlson was asking me those questions. And I did not watch that whole video because I couldn't watch the whole video. But at a certain point, when Tucker is talking about, like, well, it's the descendants of Abraham who are supposed to inherit the land, right? Yes. Well, but Netanyahu and his family was born in, I don't remember what he said, like Eastern Europe. So we have no evidence that they were ever Middle Eastern. So why should he, and it's sort of like, it's just like, it's like, cannot follow what you're saying. I can't process what you're saying, which is really what you have to say when someone is talking absolute nonsense to you. And you just have to look at it and be like, yeah, you're not making any sense. It's like, it's my favorite clip is Indiana Jones, where he fights that guy in the market, and the guy's like swinging his sword around, and he's like this, and Indiana Jones just takes out his gun, he's like done, like finished. You're like, that is how you win an argument, because you're just an idiot. But then he, to his credit, he actually goes on to Mike Huckabee, goes on, the ambassador, goes on to X, and he says, let me just, for those who actually were watching this and need like a little bit more of an explanation, he said, when I sat down with Tucker Carlson on Wednesday, I was expecting a thoughtful conversation.
Oh, please. That was the first mistake.
And that he would ask questions and give me an opportunity to actually respond, just like he did with the little Nazi sympathizer Nick Fuentes, or the guy who thought Hitler was the good guy and Churchill was the bad guy. Yes. What I wasn't anticipating was a lengthy series of questions where he seemed to be insinuating that the Jews of today aren't really the same people as the Jews of the Bible. But there's a good reason I didn't anticipate that, says the ambassador. It turns out that I never encountered this theory that Tucker is pushing because it comes from some of the darkest realms of the internet and social media. I think it's important to take a moment and educate Tucker and anyone else who might get sucked into this dangerous conspiracy theory. Just like I've been educated this week. I'm sharing this information because it's been weaponized by very bad people to delegitimize Jews and strip them of their history. It's an idea that gained traction in the 80s and 90s with David Duke and other Klansmen and neo-Nazis. So he wasn't prepared for the nonsense that Tucker was spewing, but then he said, you know, but now that I've been almost like legitimizing this nonsense just by being in the room, not his fault, he then says, and now, without being interrupted by some lunatic, I'm going to explain why this is nonsense. And I really appreciate that he went and he took the moment and he took the time to say, okay, crazy was here. I was part of the crazy, and now I'm going to talk and be where my platform is, where I can get across to my people. And he's my hero this week.
He's a very worthy hero, first of all, for doing the interview to begin with, when he knew that it was going to be all sorts of traps for him that were waiting, and these nonsense theories that have unfortunately become Really,
Just
really
questions.
popular. I know. So it's like you can't win. So are they really the Jews? But they also killed Christ. What is it? You know what I mean? It's like,
So not only that, but I mean, Hitler seemed to have a pretty good understanding of who the Jews were.
Yeah.
And now suddenly we have neo-Nazis and Tucker Carlson saying that the Jews don't know who they are. Like,
yes. And
who are
wanting
you to define?
and wanting to us to do DNA tests to see who's a real Jew. Oh, DNA test. Ooh, eugenic. What was it called? Eugenics. Eugenics. Yes, that's also Nazi. Tucker. Anyway, I thought he was so composed.
Yeah.
So classy.
Yeah. In the face of a lunatic.
In the face of a
lunatic.
A lunatic child, and I thought he also finished very strong.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a great interview, and I don't think Tucker would have invented the whole look what they did to me in Israel had the interview gone better for him. That's my interpretation. I really do. So well done to Ambassador Mike Huckabee, who we all adore and is always our hero. So even though I'm really not a sports fan at all, but I have to mention two young men who are our heroes this week. One is a young Israeli boy called, I love the name, Ahavat Hashem Gordon. He calls himself Golden Boy. MMA, I think that's what it's called. It's basically hitting with all your limbs. And it turns out that he won the championship, but he faced a Turkish guy who was like being very anti-Semitic, anti-Israel. And he says, I'm going to get you. And he's like, yeah, you do. And in the end, he got him. And Ahavat Hashem Gordon won and thanked, his country, mentioned his friend who died a couple of months ago. And thank God, this boy is such a beautiful Zionist.
He's like 19.
Religious boy. Yes, it was the juniors. And he's been winning every single competition. He grew up in a farm in Shiloh.
Wow.
With he was homeschooled. He's got like 7 siblings. He was homeschooled. He comes from like a very diverse ethnic background. Religious Jewish background. I think he's got some Filipino in his family. Whatever it is, this boy won and made Israel so proud. And the second hero this week was just one yesterday or the day before, Jack Hughes, who scored the final Olympic goal in hockey. Again, I am not a sports fan or follower in any way, but this boy, and the most iconic picture, here you have it, is this incredible boy who scored the final goal, lost a tooth. Okay, he's bleeding with one tooth missing. He's 19. He's lost a tooth, and the American flag. And he gets up there and says, "America is the best country in the world." Now, for me, the contrast of this boy, who is Jewish, by the way, to those idiots at the beginning of the Winter Olympics saying, "Oh, I'm ashamed to be American." And then this Jewish boy shows them all up and shows that he's the biggest patriot. Whilst we face these scumbags like Tucker Carlson, who's trying to tell the American public that Jews are somehow not loyal to their country. And then the most loyal and successful player in the entire Winter Olympics. This is just such a beautiful closure of a circle. Happens to be a Jewish boy who had a bar mitzvah, and yet it was the most proud American who won that medal. To me, that is wonderful, beautiful, and it expresses that Jews, every country that we live in, we are loyal citizens of that country. We are proud and loyal citizens of that country. And you can try and throw every accusation at us of dual loyalty, but there's no contradiction. And this boy, Jack Hughes, just proved that to all of you haters. So for that reason, Ahavat Hashem, love saying that name, and Jack Hughes, you are my heroes this week. And on that wonderful positive note, we close off, and maybe this is the week, Sagand, maybe this is the week.
I hope this is the week.
Put it this way, if next week we're doing the show remote, you know this was the week. Thank you for watching, and see you next week.